Hey, this is Ask the Pastor. I'm Pastor Ryan Gaffney, and Matthew Ray asks, what daily or weekly rituals or routines give you comfort during the week? What daily or weekly rituals or routines give you comfort during the week? That is a great question, Matthew. That speaks to, I think, your personality and your nature in a lot of ways to be concerned about my well-being in the midst of an Ask the Pastor thing. But it's also a good, I think, potentially instructional question for all of us. How do we find grace and truth and peace? How do we self-soothe and take care of ourselves? So the biggest one, the most important one I think I can list is the coveted Sunday afternoon nap. You gotta take a Sunday afternoon nap. You wake up on Sunday, you lead Sunday school, you have the service, and you preach. Preaching takes a lot out of you. Those of you who are public speakers know what I'm talking about, but after preaching, it's emotionally exhausting. At our church, we usually have a session meeting after that. That's when we have session meetings, that's when it is, which, if you're not at a church that does that, bless you. But then after that, you got to take a nap. It's just every time. Sunday afternoon nap, huge deal. Monday is my Sabbath. I think it's very, very important. If you have no other weekly rhythm in your life, no matter what you're doing on Sunday and what your vocation is, you need to set aside a 1 and 6 rhythm and just have a time to rest. A lot of people take their Sabbath on Sunday, and coming to church is a Sabbath activity. It's not for me because I work Sundays, so I do it on Monday, and I try really to be disciplined to not do anything that has to do with my role in the church on Monday. But of course, things that don't have to do with my role in the church are different from things that don't have to do with Jesus or Christianity. I'm still a Christian every Monday and every day of my life. So I still seek for opportunities to love my neighbor and pray and share the gospel on Monday, but not that are a part of my 9-to-5 experience. So that's another important one. I've got some other ones down. Riding my bike, I think whenever I can. That's not like a scheduled rhythm, but especially during COVID, I've been riding my bike every single day that I possibly can when it's not raining right when I want to. And that's just a huge way to blow off steam and to get moving. I have a hard time with like gyms and stuff. I hear my Irish ancestors making fun of me. Why are you lifting a thing that you just put down again? Why don't you do some work? And so moving somewhere helps. So bike rides are important. Physical activity. Going to the movie theater. If you follow me on YouTube at all, you know that I do a thing called Movie Pastor. But I have attention deficit disorder. And so watching a movie at home, fine, I like movies, but watching a movie at the theater with a giant Diet Coke and being immersed in the world of the characters, having nothing else to do for 2 hours is huge for me, and my ability to forget about the stresses and forget about the worries of my day. And so that's a big ritual and routine that I try to do as much as I can, which is why I bought a movie pass. Prayer, I think, for me, looks different than it might for a lot of people or for the kind of stereotype. My prayer is often about spending time getting quiet and intentionally waiting and watching and listening and just paying attention to the internal life that's going on inside my head. It doesn't become as much of a conversation, and I've gotten past a place where I shame myself and try to put unrelated thoughts out, but instead I just kind of get curious about all my thoughts and invite God into them, and spend time yeah, listening and thinking and getting quiet and processing. That's most of what my prayer life looks like. At least what you normally call prayer. We can play fun word games with like what prayer is, because in a lot of ways, like my sermon is a prayer, right? Like my life and my work, everything's a prayer to God. We used to sing that old song, "Make my life a prayer to you. I want to do what you want." Anyway, but yeah, I don't do like morning devotionals with a little booklet. That's never worked for me. So that's kind of what my prayer looks like. Another ritual that's like not a spiritual thing, but I love to cover my eyes when I sleep. I still have my baby blanket and I put it over my eyes. Because otherwise they just, and so covering something, and so that if I do open my eyes, I still don't see anything. It just helps me relax. And finally, and again, this is like a weird, but like, hey, let's get weird. This is Ask Me Anything. When I'm going to sleep, in order to get my brain out of like a rational world where I'm like, oh, wait, I gotta call this person and I write fantasy novels in my head. Like I take myself intentionally to a world where like things are kind of nonsense and dreamlike, and that's what helps me fall asleep. Like, hey, what if mushrooms had an opinion on global politics? And then if I'm thinking about that, then I'm not thinking about who I got to call and what I got to worry about and what's not done. And so I would encourage you to try that. If you ever have trouble sleeping, think of ridiculous things. Write a ridiculous story. That's really good. Oh, I've got more here. I'm still going. Lots and lots of rituals, which I think tells you something. That it takes a lot to maintain a life and maintain a level of responsibility and performance. Highly, highly recommend David Allen's book, Getting Things Done, GTD. He lists a number of habits and behaviors in there that I just live by. One of the key ones is this idea of a capture list. So take everything that's on your mind and write it down, and just have it in a place where you know it and you trust it, and it's you're not going to lose it, and then your brain can actually work. Huge deal. Lots of good stuff in GTD. And also one, and this is one I've shared with the church, to be a Christian every day. It's kind of like the Boy Scouts, do one deed daily, do one thing that is Christian every day. Serve someone, love your neighbor in a Christian way, serve God, learn something new about the Bible, but every single day of your life, and for me it's in addition to what I do at the church, find some way to love God, serve God, worship God once a day, at least every day. And if you do every day, then some days you're going to do more. That's a really important ritual for me. And it's one that I would challenge you, as I challenged my church a year or so ago, to try and implement. It really goes back to the Ignatian prayer of examine, and it'll help you know, I did something. I grew, and I engaged in this way. Thank you for the question. It was a wonderful question. Matthew, if this was a good answer, if you got what you wanted, I would love to encourage you to share this. If it wasn't a good answer, I would love for you to respond and tell me that wasn't really what I meant. I was looking for something else. Let's talk about it. Let's build a community. And if any of the rest of you out there are watching me talk about this stuff and have more questions, send them. I would love to answer those questions too. And there are some other answers to other questions up and around here. Thank you all. See you next time.